Hey there, and welcome to quarter one of our Resilience Enrichment Series. This is the first of 4 sessions we'll do together over the next year. Today, we're talking about physical well-being, how our bodies carry the weight of what we've lived through, and how they can also carry our healing. This series is built on the Community Resiliency Model, or CREM, which is used in 41 US states and 75 countries. So I just want you guys to know you are getting evidence-based wellness skills, not a generic wellness talk. So let's get into it. Before we begin, I want to start with both a land and labor acknowledgement. We gather today on the ancestral lands of the Catawba people who have stewarded this land we now call Charlotte for generations. Most of us stand or sit on land that was taken through colonization, and that history continues to reverberate through time. We honor the resilience of Indigenous people who survived displacement and genocide, and we recognize their enduring presence, leadership, and connection to this land. I also want to acknowledge the generations of enslaved African Americans whose unpaid labor, blood, sweat, and tears, knowledge, and resilience helped build this region and this nation, while they themselves were denied freedom, dignity, and the full recognition of their humanity. Their contributions are woven into the foundations of the community, institution, and prosperity many of us benefit from today, and their legacy continues to shape our collective story. Healing happens in community, in relationship to land, labor, and lineage. And the first step toward healing is to name that harm, honor the resilience of those that came before us, and commit ourselves to creating communities where every person's humanity is recognized, valued, and protected. When we talk about physical well-being, we're not just talking about individual choices. Our bodies carry those stories, stories of resilience, trauma, survival, culture, and community. Acknowledging that history helps us better understand what wellness truly means. Now, here's a quick peek at who we are.
I'm JB, Jairus Bell,
And I'm Melinda Bell.
and our family started C4. I'm a counselor with a counselor. Melinda's in counseling. Our kids are involved in counseling. And so we wanted to create a safe place where it's okay to struggle, because not every family is safe to struggle in. So sometimes C4 counselors, we have to be that family to the individuals we work with. And I remember when Melinda first suggested that we do counseling, my comment was counseling's not for black people. That is just so far from the truth. And I get it, because historically counseling has harmed minorities, providing that push away. But the healing occurs in community.
We created C4 out of a gap, out of a need, because biblical counseling wasn't available to people in the urban inner city. We want to be a place right in the community, right where you are, for you to get biblical services.
We at C4 want to be that safe place for you. We don't want you to be perfect when you come. We want you to be you. And we want to help you navigate the struggle and how your story is interacting with your life here today. We are here for the urban inner city community, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're upper class, lower class, at risk, low risk. We're here for you. We want to be that healthy, safe space for you.
The Lord uses counseling as a way to reveal Himself, to reveal where He was and how His goodness remains even in your darkest times.
If you want more information about C4 or Christ-Centered Community Counseling, you can join us by simply going to the website c4counseling.com or c4therapy.com. So I wanted to share that just so you guys have an idea that as we go through our statements of understanding, we want to put out there that you may become activated during this time. And if you realize that you have more to talk about, counseling is available. And so you can go to c4therapy.com. That's c4therapy.com. And you can register there. We do take insurance. LoveWorks has also graciously offered support. So if you are in need of that, you can reach out to them directly. Before we begin, 4 things you should know. Number 1, accessibility. If you need anything to be more accessible, captions larger, a quieter space, a break, just message me privately and just let me know, and I will do my best to accommodate you. If you do become activated, some of what we talk about and discuss today will be physically or maybe even emotionally difficult. And it's okay for you to step away at any time. There's no explanation needed. We want you to take care of your body. Also, privacy. Please don't record or make video transcripts. What's shared here stays here. This is a recording, so isn't that ironic? And then the 4th and final thing, CREM is not therapy. These are wellness skills. It's not a replacement for therapy. Practicing any of them is always your choice. So if something doesn't feel right for you, you are fine to opt out. Let's see. Well, an icebreaker is going to be difficult to do because you guys are not really here. So just remember in the moment as you're watching this, I want you to take a second and drop in your virtual mind a word that stands for a weather report. If you were going to give a weather report for your body, I would have you drop that in the chat right now. So if you're feeling sunny today or foggy today or cloudy with a breakthrough, tornado, right? Whatever your body shows up today as, I would love it if you would just think of that for a moment. Again, if you were here, I would say drop it in the chat, but no chat. So today's path, we did already the welcome and the icebreaker. We're going to take a look at 3 levels of stress. We're going to talk about the resilience zone, talk about what is resilience. We're going to talk about adversity, and then we are going to do a few skills practice. We're going to teach you the main tool of CREM today, which is tracking. And then we're going to do a quick reflection and close. We're going to start with this short primer video just to give you an idea of what ACEs is. If you've never heard that word, you're about to find out. As you listen, I want you to think about how ACEs show up in the body and what the dose-response relationship is. So I want you to just think about that and enjoy.
What does your parents' divorce have to do with your risk for heart disease? If your mother had a drinking problem when you were growing up, are you more likely to suffer from depression as an adult? Here's what you should know about ACEs. ACEs stand for Adverse Childhood Experiences, extremely stressful events that can happen to a child growing up. Some experiences are so stressful that they can alter brain development, as well as the immune system, increasing the risk of lifelong health and social problems in adulthood. The term comes from the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, landmark research that shed new light on the root cause of everything from stroke and liver disease to substance abuse and mental illness. In the late 1990s, an epidemiologist from the Centers for Disease Control and a preventive medicine doctor at Kaiser Permanente set out to understand the association between childhood experience and lifelong health. They asked over 17,000 people in the Kaiser Health Plan in San Diego about their health history, as well as difficult questions about their experiences growing up. Anda and Felitti tallied up 10 different kinds of adversity in this largely middle-class and college-educated population. They were stunned to see how common ACEs were. 21% of all respondents were sexually abused as children. 19% grew up with someone who suffered mental illness. 28% had been physically abused. And 2 out of 3 respondents had experienced at least one ACE. The researchers next looked at how someone's ACE score, or the number of adversities they experienced, related to a wide array of serious health and social problems. They saw that the more ACEs someone had, the greater their risk for poor outcomes compared with someone with no ACEs. Someone with an ACE score of 4 had twice the risk of heart disease and cancer. Someone with an ACE score of 5 had an 8 times greater chance of being an alcoholic. And those with an ACE score of 6 or more, on average, died 20 years earlier. With every major problem they looked at in the ACE study, the risk went up for each additional adverse experience in childhood. As Dr. Robert Anda says, what's predictable is preventable. It's important to remember that ACEs are not destiny. ACEs are a tool for understanding the health of a population as a whole. For individuals, an ACE score can be a tool for understanding their own risk for health and social problems, and empower them to make changes for themselves and their children. ACEs tend to get passed down from generation to generation and are common across all income levels, races, and cultures. But increasingly, people of all different professions and backgrounds are coming together to discuss how ACEs affect their communities. They're finding new ways to treat and prevent ACEs. Many doctors are starting to screen their patients for ACEs as part of their medical history. More schools are becoming trauma-informed, considering the source of problem behavior when disciplining their students, instead of immediately suspending or expelling them. To learn more about interrupting the cycle of adversity and improving health and well-being for the next generation, please visit kpjrfilms.co.
So, again, if you were here, I would ask you to drop in the chat what landed for you. What was something that you learned? Have you heard of ACEs before? Adverse childhood experiences. You could have asked someone a long time ago, hey, if you had a really, really traumatic childhood, is that going to make life harder? Sure. Many people would say yes and make that correlation automatically. But did you know that there is a dose-response relationship, that the greater your ACE score, it is connected to your actual health outcomes? So, what is resilience, right? We can't talk about just ACE, just adverse childhood experiences. We want to talk about the resilience side too, because if you were watching and you were listening and you say, hey, I have a really high ACE score, does that mean I'm at risk to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G? The chances are yes. And so, what does that mean for you? That means that you have experienced and you have been showing some great resilience. So, again, if you were here, I'd have you drop something in the chat, but we're going to keep it pushing. So, um, Bethel and her colleagues studied this resilience idea in kids. Their definition was simple: staying calm and in control when faced with a challenge. And here's what they found: children who could stay calm in the face of a challenge had higher school engagement, even when they had a high ACE score. The resilience of this resilience actually protected them. So Krem goes a little deeper in than just saying staying calm. Resilience also means compassion, empathy, being solution focused, recognizing both individual and collective strengths, embodied well-being, optimism, and importantly, acknowledging suffering. That's really important because resilience doesn't mean pretending hard things didn't happen. It means we are still standing. It doesn't just mean to push through, it's acknowledging what's hard. So, not all stress is the same. Some stress actually helps us grow. And the difference isn't really the event, it's the dose, duration, and whether you have support. So, first, there is positive stress. And positive stress is brief and buffered. This is like the first day of a new job. Your heart rate goes up, your hormones release, and then your body comes back down to balance pretty quickly. This kind of stress actually builds capacity. It's how we grow. Okay, the next one is tolerable stress. This is hard, but it's supported. This is like a loved one's surgery, but you have support. The stress is real and significant, but it's time limited, and you have people, resources, faith, community helping you through it. Your body returns to balance with that help and support. The third one, and this is what causes ACEs, is toxic stress. Toxic stress, another way of saying this, is too much, too long, alone. And toxic stress is ongoing harm without protective relationships. This is when the stress response stays activated for too long with no buffering. This is what we mean when we talk about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. It's not just the event itself, it's the absence of buffering. The same event can land differently in different bodies, depending on the perception, history, and support. There's no shame in your nervous system's response. It's reading the moment and the information it has. For someone who has an overactive amygdala, something that is only somewhat dangerous may send off warning flags and red flares all over the place. For someone who hasn't experienced a lot of trauma, a little puppy might not be a scary thing. But if you've experienced a dog attack, that same little puppy can send warning signals and send your brain offline. So these are three numbers worth knowing. The first one is 60%. Over 60% of US adults report at least one ACE. So we're not talking about a small group of people. The majority of us carry something. And that's important because I don't know about you, but sometimes I just don't want to feel alone. The second number is 21.5. 21.5% report 3 or more. That's 1 in 5 Americans, guys, and that's according to the CDC. And ACEs are linked to 5 of the 10 leading causes of death in this country. That's heart disease, cancer, respiratory illness, diabetes, suicide. The body keeps the score. These things that happen to us in our childhood are directly connected to our risk factors for experiencing health problems as we age. And the key is resilience. So don't give up hope on me yet. So we're going to keep moving. So another thing I'm going to name, the video did name all ACEs are common among all demographics, all races, all ethnicities, all over the world. But we are going to say and name that minorities often carry a disproportionate ACE burden, not because of the biology, but because of the structural inequity. Um, Multiracial Americans report the highest average ACE score in any racial group. This is the legacy of historical and intergenerational trauma. Now, this is heavy. The work we're doing today is part of changing that story, and that's why we're in this room together. Not just inheriting trauma, we are also building resilience for ourselves, our families, and the next generation. So, if ACEs are part of the story, so are PACEs. And PACEs are positive childhood experiences, or PCEs. And here's what the research shows. Even when ACEs are present, PCEs buffer the impact across a lifetime. They protect mental health and physical health. So this is really, really important. Oftentimes we're told in America that, hey, you had a lot of childhood trauma, but you made it out. You pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, research says something different. Research says that it's actually these positive childhood experiences, things like feeling able to talk to family about your feelings, feeling that someone stood by you in a hard time, feeling safe and protected by an adult in your home, feeling supported by friends, having two non-parent adults who took genuine interest in you, the sense of belonging in high school, enjoying your community traditions. Notice almost every single one of these has to do with community. So it's not what you do or who you are that causes the resilience. It's actually the people that surround you. Right now, if you have thought about during this time that you've had a lot of ACEs or you've had a particular childhood trauma, you could probably name a Girl Scout leader, a coach, a teacher, a guidance counselor, someone in your life, an aunt, a grandma, someone who leaned in and took specific care for you. If that's true, I want you to just think for a second. Think of that person's name. If you were here, I would have you drop it in the chat to honor that person. But since you're not, maybe later today, if you think about it, think about reaching out to that person, thanking them for taking an interest in you, thanking that Girl Scout leader or that teacher. For me, it was Mrs. Passman. I was in fourth grade or sixth grade, and I was a little unruly. And Mrs. Passman, for one reason or another, took an interest in me, and she was my protective factor. So, this is the resilience zone. Your nervous system has a zone. In CREM, we call it the resilience zone or the OK zone. So things happen in life, joy, sadness, frustration, excitement, within the resilience zone. Your thoughts and feelings move around, but your body can settle. When you're in your resilience zone, things happen, but you can still manage and come back to a balance. So in the zone, there's 3 zones. So I want you to look at the visual here. The top turquoise block is the high zone. This is when we get bumped up. This is when we're feeling edgy, anxious, panicky, sometimes even physical pain. The body's on high alert. The sympathetic nervous system is running the show. Then we have the OK zone or the resilience zone. This is the center section. This is the home base. We can be all range of emotions inside this resilient zone. The point is that your body can regulate and you can think clearly. Then sometimes we get bumped down into our low zone. This is the bottom turquoise bar. And this is when we're feeling numb, exhausted, disconnected, depressed, isolated. The body has shut down to protect itself. So here's the goal. A wider zone means the more of life's stressors stay manageable. And when we do get bumped out of our zone, we have skills to come back to the main center resilient zone faster. And that's what we're learning today. So here's something beautiful. When you're in your zone, you actually help others get into theirs. This is the science of mirror neurons. Well-being is contagious. Your own regulation is also a gift to your community. So today we are going to talk about tracking. Now, tracking is the first CREM skill. It is absolutely foundational. Tracking is simply noticing sensations inside and outside the body in the present moment. That's it. Notice, name it, and stay with it briefly. So, why this matters. Your body is constantly sending you signals. Most of us were never taught to read them. Tracking is really body literacy. The more you read your body, the more choice you have about how you respond. So we're going to look at interoception and exteroception. So interoception is what's happening on the inside of your body. This is things like heart rate, breath, muscle tension, hunger, warmth, tingling. The trick is to ask, are these sensations pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? You don't have to fix it. You just want to notice it. If you notice something that's unpleasant, try to move to something that's neutral or pleasant. My pinky toe, for some reason, just always seems to be neutral. Unless I stub that bad boy. Then we need to switch to the other pinky toe. So if you can't think of anything that's feeling good right now, think about your pinky toe. Exteroception is sensing outside. What does the world feel like through your senses? What sights do you see? Sounds do you hear? Smells, touches, taste? This is also tracking. And sometimes it's easier to start here if inside and interior sensations feel overwhelming. What we pay attention to grows. So if you constantly track sensations of stress, that's what gets bigger. If you learn to track moments of ease, calm, warmth, and connection, those get bigger too. So tracking is the choice point. If I'm constantly thinking about how my shoulder is aching, my shoulder is aching, my shoulder is aching, or I have that migraine, right? It's going to get bigger. But if I can redirect my thoughts to something that is more pleasant or neutral, then that is the part of the sensation that gets bigger. Most of us have a really tiny sensation vocabulary. If I ask you how you are, you might say good, fine, tense, tired, but the body speaks a much richer language. These are just some of the words that you can use. We've got shaky, trembling, large. You can talk about temperature, cold, cool, warm, hot, neutral. Weight, we can talk about heavy, light, firm, gentle. There's tons of things on here that can actually name how we feel. Sometimes you got to be a little creative. Sometimes there's not already a word. Sometimes my chest just feels bubbly or irkly. And maybe that's not a word, but it fits. Sensations come in categories: vibration, temperature, pain, muscles, breathing, density, weight. The more specific you can get, the more body literacy grows. So right now, I want to invite you on your own to take 10 seconds and bring your attention to one part of your body. If you were here, I would have you drop a word in the chat. just to name that body sensation. But since you're by yourself, just doing your thing, looking at the recording, I want you to actually name that thing out loud. I'll go first. My mouth is dry. That's one sensation I'm noticing. It's not unpleasant, it's more neutral. So I'm going to stick with it. So notice these are not good or bad, they're just descriptors. The shame stops when we just describe what we're feeling. So now we're going to track together. I want to invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. If you don't feel comfortable, that's also fine. You can keep your eyes wide open, and that's wonderful. Um, we want to always offer a choice and do whatever. I want you to do what feels good to you. So I invite you, if you'd like, to find a comfortable position. You can sit, stand, or if you're feeling bold, you can lie down. Eyes can be open or closed. It's your choice. I invite you to bring attention to one place in your body. Maybe it's your hands. Maybe it's your feet on the floor. Maybe your chest or your belly. Just one place, and just notice it. Notice what's there. Nothing to fix. Just focus on it. Is there warmth, coolness, pressure, stillness? Now see if you can name what you notice. Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or just neutral? If what you notice is pleasant or neutral, see if you can stay with it for another 10 seconds. Just let your body know that you're paying attention. I'm becoming increasingly thirsty now that I said that my mouth is dry, and I'm sticking with it. Make sure that you're taking deep breaths. When you're ready, bring your awareness back to the room. And again, if we were together, I would have you guys call out or come off mute and say, what did you notice? Were my hands tingly? Are my feet cold? Right? What are some of those things? If something difficult came up, that's okay. You're safe. You can open your eyes, look around the room, name 5 things you see, and we come back together. This is the practice. Taking 30 seconds, you can track, and you can do it standing in line, before a hard meeting, and when you wake up. There's no more to it. And the more you do this, the wider your resilient zone gets. So today's not just about skills. It's also about how we shift how we see ourselves and see each other. From what's wrong to you to what happened to you. This is the trauma-informed shift. The word used to ask kids and adults what's wrong with you, as if our reactions were deficits. But trauma-informed care asks what happened to you. Recognizing our reactions makes sense given what we've lived through. For row 2, we're looking at the idea people are broken, and we're shifting to people are resilient. This is a resiliency informed shift. People aren't broken, they're adapting. Even maladaptive coping was a survival strategy at some point. If I'm doing things that are wrong, it's still my body trying to come up with ways to fix the problem. But the work isn't to fix broken people. It's to remember that resilience that's already there and to find better tools. So row 3 is healing is something you do alone to healing is something we grow together. This is the community informed shift. And it is especially important to BIPOC communities. BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, people of color, if you're not familiar with that term, where dominant culture has often pushed an individual or self-help model that ignores how healing actually happens. We heal in relationship, in families, in community, in ancestral memory. Healing is a collective work. All 4 of these perspectives are valid. The goal is to hold them all at once. What happened, what's resilient, and what's collective. So before we close, 2 questions. You can answer one or both in the chat or aloud. Of course, if you were here, I would have you do that. Elaine Miller Karas, the founder of CREM, said it like this: when we bring awareness to the inner wisdom of our bodies, well-being can grow, even in times of great suffering, even in the hard times. That's the gift. So the first prompt I want you to think about, what's one thing from today that you can carry with you? Just one thing. I want you to just think for a second. Another prompt that you can think of is, where will you practice tracking this week? Will you practice it in your morning routine, before a hard meeting, when you were waiting in line for something? We wait in a lot of lines. There's tons of tracking that can be done in lines. I want you to think about where you can implement this. Again, it's one thing if we just come to a thingy and we show up and that's great. But if we don't take the tools and move with them and change and shift our perspective, it is all for naught. So what you just named, even if it's small, whether it's a 30-second body check-in or something that you're taking away, that is the practice. That's your commitment. I'm proud of you guys that you showed up, that you stayed with this digital material. I hope that you recognize that's resilience right there. Taking the time to check in. I want to also let you know before we close, you have a free wellness toolkit. iChill is a free app made by the Trauma Resource Institute and the folks who created CREM. It has all 6 CREM skills with practice exercises in 7 languages like English, Spanish, Chinese, Hebrew, Ukrainian, Korean, Portuguese, and Arabic. Like all the languages. I mean, I'm sure that's not all, obviously, but a lot of languages. So you can visit ichillapp.com, and it's free on the App Store and on Google Play. Also, leaving this info session, I have a handout for you guys, just to have some takeaways, so that you guys can have a few things to think about until next quarter for our next resilience enrichment session. Thank you guys for showing up today, for staying with the material. I know it's not easy, and it's definitely not easy to actually take the actual time to look up videos and teach ourselves. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Next quarter, we're going to go deeper into the brain, what's actually happening when you flip your lid, and the difference between fight, flight, freeze, and tend and befriend. We'll learn 5 more CREM skills. So today we learned 1, tracking. Next time you'll have 6 tools in your pocket by the time you leave. Between now and then, track your body, even if it's just once a day. That's enough. That alone will change things. Take care of yourselves this week, take care of each other, and we'll see you next quarter. Goodbye.